Welcome to our 10-minute Sunday school lesson. This week we are with Duff Hallman, and we are so excited to have this conversation with Duff. Today we're going to make a transition. Over the last couple of weeks we've looked at particular scriptures, and this week Duff has brought to us the Serenity Prayer. So we are excited to be able to engage in a meaningful conversation about this prayer. I'd encourage you, if you're at home, maybe just to pull up your computer screen and Google it, and you can have those words in front of you as we engage in this conversation. Like in the weeks past, I'll read the prayer, I'll start the timer, and together we'll have a 10-minute conversation about this prayer. In the comment section, feel free to interact with each other, ask questions, share your thoughts, and engage with each other as if you were in a classroom. But today we're going to do this via Facebook. So together, let us hear this prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. The Serenity Prayer for us to have a conversation about. I will start our timer, Duff. Okay, Duff, tell us, why did you pick this prayer for us to talk about this morning?
Well, I've been acquainted with this prayer for a long time, and due to some of my life history, I have used this prayer a lot. And I think in this day and time, TJ, that it's a very appropriate prayer for the times we live in. One, because to me, it's a powerful prayer, but yet it's really simple to pray. You don't have to make it complicated. It's just simple, and it encompasses everything we need to think about.
Yeah, it sort of has the Lord's Prayer sort of feeling, right? It's meaningful and it's powerful, and yet it's one you can memorize and you can use in almost any situation.
Oh yes, I mean it just takes a minute, less than a minute, to repeat this prayer. And I mean, you can say it over and over if you need to because I think it can embolden you to feel better about whatever you're contemplating, or whatever ups and downs you're experiencing. You know, who wouldn't like to have that serenity with life's challenges and the ups and downs of everyday life?
It is a prayer that often invites us to sort of recenter ourselves and to be present in the moment, and gives ourselves permission to sort of let go of some of the outside chaos.
Right.
Which you talk about in this day and age. We could teach a lot of folks just to be present for the moment and to let go of some of that outside noise. What a transformational experience that would be.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, when you get to the second phrase about granting us the courage, I mean, you know, here we are fixing to hopefully look at a renovation here at the church and call it a rebirth if you want.
Yeah.
But gosh, we need courage to do that, because it is going to require us to maybe get out of our comfort zones, and that's going to take courage.
Yeah, so the line is courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That so often we spend so much energy working toward doing something that is really out of our control. And in this line, the prayer and the invitation is, work on the thing that's in front of you. And that could be seen as sort of an excuse or a spirit of laziness, but if we can let go of the need to do things that are out of our control, then we have more energy to do the things that are right in front of us.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's the simple fact is, there are things that are out of our control, and those are the things we have to turn over to God, knowing that he will intervene.
Yeah.
And that's where our faith comes in.
Yeah.
We have to believe in that and practice that, because, you know, the wisdom comes from loving and respecting God and what he represents, and following the teachings of Jesus, we'll gain that wisdom And as I stated earlier, I mean, that's not the wisdom necessarily that comes with age. This is wisdom we can acquire, you know, at any age in an ongoing process by reading the Bible and, you know, going to Sunday school and so forth. We can acquire that knowledge, which helps our faith grow and I think enriches our spirit.
Yeah, there's two things that really I like that you just said. One, at the beginning, when we talked about this prayer, it is a personal prayer that centers ourselves, but in that need to work on the things that we can control and then trusting that God will do the things that are outside of our control. That is a trust in God and trust in the community to recognize that we are just one piece of the puzzle. And if we can understand that we are just one piece in the puzzle, that's freeing in a lot of ways. But the other thing you talked about was wisdom, and it's not necessarily something that comes with age, but wisdom is a life journey, a life process. That it's not, oh, I turned 50, so I'm wise. It's I'm continuing to grow in wisdom as I experience life.
Absolutely. I think that for me personally, I have to be I have to make myself do things because I get so busy with everyday routine and work and so forth. And what's neat about this prayer, I can say this prayer and the pressures of everyday work and so forth, they don't go away, but they lessen for me. And I know that, you know, do what you can do, and tomorrow's another day. I don't have to feel pressured in, I gotta get it done, I gotta get it done. I can use this prayer knowing that I will get it done, but it may take me 2 days, not 1 day.
Yeah, part of what you're saying, Duff, I think it's important to acknowledge that this prayer is a part of AA for a lot of communities. And it is a prayer that folks, when they are in the midst of life, they come and they have to pray this prayer, and it's authentic. But when you believe in these words, it is freeing. And it reminds me of the teachings of Jesus, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. This is really about just being fully present, dealing with the business at hand in this moment, and trusting that the rest of the things will be dealt with on God's timing. And when you can be fully present, then you're invited to be honest and authentic. And I think about in seminary, I had to go to an AA meeting as part of a project. And I tell you, I sat in a room with 60 or so folks, and it was the most honest, most sacred experience I've ever had in my life. I'm a part of church, and I love church, and I love Sunday worship. But there was something different about being in a room where folks really prayed this prayer, meant it, and practiced it, even if it was just for that hour kind of moment. That if we can adopt the teachings of this prayer, it's a game changer.
Well, I've been in that same setting with a former friend who was a member of this church and unfortunately passed away. And that, I think that meeting and that prayer helped empower those people to lay out their soul, so to speak, to the people present, and to help them find understanding with what they were dealing with. And that's the courage that we talk about in this prayer. It is the courage to deal with the things that you can deal with, knowing that God's going to help you deal with that.
The courage to surrender, the courage to be transparent, the courage to deal with the things in front of you. This is a prayer of courage. But I also like at the end that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with Him forever in the next. That this is a prayer of attaining happiness in this moment. I mean, reasonably happy, we can negotiate what that means to be reasonably happy, but I think happiness is something we can experience, and it should be something we work toward in our own lives,
Well, and I think too, happiness comes from a positive state of mind, which
Yeah.
which also can come from the courage that you're asking God to grant you. When you have that positive state of mind, everything will get worked out. Nothing overwhelms you.
Well, Duff, there's about another minute or so left. Do you have anything else you want to add to this conversation?
No, I just think that this is a great prayer for anybody to use spur of the moment when you feel
That's our
pressured
time.
or anything else. Say this prayer, and if you don't feel better, I'm sorry, because it sure works for me.
Yeah. Well, good. We're at our 10-minute timer. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those connecting on Sunday School Facebook Live, we'll see you next week. Take care.